Morning, North Coast. My name is JD. I'm one of the pastors here at the Carlsbad campus, and welcome to the Daily Dose. Hey, I want to take you back to the Jordan River with the Israelites camped beside it and God showing up in a huge miracle. Their goal was to get to the Promised Land. Standing between them and the Promised Land was a swollen river, a river that would have drowned all of them had not God shown up. God showed up in a huge way. They parked the Ark of the Covenant in the middle of this riverbed. The waters stood on one side, and the entire nation of Israel walked through on dry land. It was a miracle. God showed up, huge. But God wasn't done. He didn't want people to forget that miracle. So he sent 12, I think, of the burliest guys back to the middle of the river, right where that ark was, and he said, guys, pick up stones. And I'll bet they were bigger than these ones. They said, put them on your shoulder and heft them across to the other side and build a pile of rocks. It's going to serve as a monument. It's going to serve as a memorial. It's going to serve as an Ebenezer, a Bible word I never knew what it meant. It means a pile of rocks or an altar, an Ebenezer. And this is what the Bible said about that pile of rocks. I'm reading today out of Joshua chapter 4. God said, each of you, 12 men, are to heft a stone on your shoulder, a stone for each of the tribes of the people of Israel, so that you'll have something later to mark this occasion. And when your children ask you, what do these stones mean? You'll say, the flow of the Jordan was stopped in front of the Ark of the Covenant of God as it crossed the Jordan. It stopped in its tracks. These stones are a permanent memorial for the people of Israel. So when they walked by this pile of stones and the kids would ask their parents, they would say, I got a story for you. A story where God showed up in an amazing way and he saved us and gave us a great gift. And it got me thinking about trophy cases. I'll bet in your high school, near the gym somewhere, there was likely a case where there was glass and there were trophies and pictures of old teams that won championships. There was in mine. And I'd always walk by and think, wow, man, amazing to be on that team, or amazing to be that individual that won state, whatever it might be. In this story got me thinking that God said, I want you to remember my trophy case. Because each of us could look back on our own life and see those places where God showed up in an amazing way, did some work in your life, did some work in my life, and he doesn't want us to forget. He wants us to remember where he showed up and worked powerfully. So when we face another trial, we can go back and remember that in the trophy case. So if I look back on my life, I can see multiple places where he showed up. Whether it was the family I was raised in, maybe it was the wife I was given and my kids that have been raised and their spouses. Those are all places where we've prayed a bunch and God showed up and answered prayer. And yet sometimes if you were to ask me, what's in that trophy case, I might pause and say, nothing's coming to mind right now. Or in the midst of a trial and my focus is set on that trial, on that struggle, on that fear, I have a hard time remembering where God was faithful. And if that's you this morning as you watch the Daily Dose, I want to give you a gift. I want to put something in your trophy case. I want to give you something to remember God by. I want to put a monument on the side of that riverbank for you to go back and remember. This one's going to come right out of Isaiah chapter 43, where God writes this. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. When you pass through the rivers, they won't sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you'll not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. For I am the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. God will not leave you alone, church. Whether you face high water, you face a flood, you face a river to cross, you face a fire, I don't know what you will face or are facing, but you have a God that will walk by your side, will not leave you alone. That very promise ought to sit in that trophy case and remember. So church, hang on to that one. Build a monument, build an Ebenezer, fill the trophy case with God's faithful words to ourselves. Have a great day, North Coast.